Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. We're getting ready to go live. Ronnie McMullen's here with us. We're going to talk about this wonderful new genetically modified corn that actually doesn't even need pesticides to be dangerous and to kill pesticides. They've actually found a way to manipulate the RNA gene and splice it and turn off certain genes when it's consumed. So now, talk about a silent killer. This stuff is crazy. They're literally genetically modifying the DNA to where it's like a poison. So it destroys the guts. It destroys the intestines of these insects. Now imagine what this is going to do to human beings. So even if you think you're one of the smart ones, you're like, yeah, I bought the non-organic stuff, but I washed it all off. I washed all that pesticide stuff off. Well, it's still growing inside of the genes. This is just unprecedented. I talked to you guys about this the other day, actually. And thank goodness we can learn about this kind of stuff, because oftentimes they can get away with it and they don't even have to label certain things that they do. If you look at the amount of genetically modified crops in the States, I mean, just take a look at it. 96% genetically modified cotton, 77% corn. Now, if it's genetically modified, that means oftentimes it's probably going to have a lot more pesticides on it, because that corn can withstand the pesticides. Well, now they're even growing the pesticides in the corn. How cool is that? Hey, Ronnie, thanks for joining us here at the Leak Project. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing fantastic. I've been taking this colostrum stuff from getthetea.com. You've heard of that place, right?
I have. It's ringing a bell.
Yeah, I love it. That and the GI Joy. I mean, these are my two favorite products. Seriously, I can't say enough good things about them. I will say this, though, since I've been taking these supplements, I've actually been eating a little bit less healthy, because it's like my food's digesting better, I guess, and I feel better. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to have some of those gummy bears. So I need to avoid that. But I'll tell you,
you're going to the dark side now.
Yes, I'm going to the dark side. So what do you think about this? The amount of crops that are being grown, genetically modified crops, and now these new crops that are literally poison from the inside.
Well, here's what I think, and not that it matters, but anyway, here it goes.
Of course it does.
I just think that we as the United States are putting up with too much BS. And here's why. Why do we not throw Monsanto on its ear like many of these other countries have? Because they said, here's what's going on. Our crops are turning to frankenfood. We don't want this. It's killing people. It's killing animals. This is a no-go. And yet, America, we're too busy watching moron NFL players take a bow than we are to care about our own food. And, I have to say something. I got to, let's do a break here for just a second. So the last time you had me on, there's been an influx of your people watching that are going, hey, let's get healthy. And they're starting to order, and it's really cool. I'm like going, this is awesome that everybody's getting on the bandwagon and saying, hey, we want to do something. We want to be a part of this, and we want to feel better for ourselves. So it's really been exciting to see how many people are from the Leak Project.
Hey, that's great. And I've got to say also, when you start doing specific things to improve your health, like take specific supplements, and when you figure out what formulas work for you, some people, specific products, specific vitamins work better than others. And, some people like different products. I've tried, man, if I look back over the past 15 years, the amount of supplements and vitamins that I've taken, the different brands and products that say they're 100% organic, et cetera, and they're supposed to be the best, and stuff that's a lot more expensive from other sites that I've gotten before that don't compare to the Get the Tea stuff. It's just kind of like, it fits for me, and one of the things that, like, I actually take the colostrum and I can feel a difference almost immediately. That's one of the things that I like. It's not like something you have to do for 6 months and be like, oh, I think I might be able to tell a little bit of a difference here. And, there's other products out there as well. I talked to a really cool guy the other day. His name's Jacob, and he's got a great YouTube channel. He used to be a producer and writer for the World Wrestling entertainment industry, the WWE. And, he's had certain opportunities that he's worked on his life to improve. And he used to live next to a toxic waste dump. And he thinks that maybe some of the stuff that he's going through is because of all those chemicals. So I really think that people need to figure out how to detox as best as possible as well. Because if you're constantly consuming foods, even if you're not consuming foods that are genetically modified, good luck with that, by the way. The amount of foods that are genetically modified, even if they find a way to just slip a little bit in, you know, if they're putting that high fructose corn syrup in there, or they're finding some way to put an additional additive that they don't have to label. For example, this bacteriophage stuff, this stuff they can spray on your food and they don't even have to tell you about it. They don't even have to label it.
See, that's what's sick and wrong. They should be telling you. Of course, they're flying over and they're putting chemicals in the air and they're putting stuff in the water, and they don't tell us about that either. So this is the world we live in the United States. It's not even happening as much in other countries as it is in the United States. It's like we're number one. What's with that, Rex?
Well, they want to experiment on us the most. You know, this is the land of the free, home of the slave. And we have an opportunity, at least. I mean, we can talk about it, we can discuss it, and we can offset it. But the problem is, I've seen video footage of people in Boston that were getting sprayed via planes to get rid of the mosquitoes. And it looked like something out of a horror film. It was like a horror sci-fi film. Yeah. These clouds of pesticides were being emitted from these planes. And then what happened in Houston, and the aftermath of Houston, after their homes got devastated with floods, then they sprayed the chemicals. So, okay, it's a catch-22. I get it. You don't want to have a ton of mosquitoes out there. I can certainly understand that. But what are you going to do? You're going to use a pesticide that has been banned in many nations, but it's okay to spray here. Like you said, I mean, you can get yourself a good Mexican Coke that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in it, in a glass bottle, not a bisphenol A filled plastic bottle with additional stuff in it. You know, it's funny. Let's talk about this for a minute, because I picked up a here was okay, folks. I mean, this colostrum stuff's so good. I picked up these cheap donuts the other day. It was $1 for a bag of these donuts. I'm looking at the back and I'm like, why am I consuming this? I mean, there was like 100 different ingredients in a bag of donuts.
I am your father. I am your father, Luke.
It's terrible. I was like, so it costs more to buy a product that comes from China that's got 100 chemicals in it and more than to buy something local that's going to cost 10 times as much.
Come to the dark side, Luke. Come to the dark side and eat donuts, Luke.
I mean, how does that work? We're paying less for more poison when we could get something healthier. We have to pay 10 times as much for that.
Well, yeah, I get their whole reasoning. If they can give you the donuts for $1, right, and they taste good, okay, I'm not saying it's food, but it tastes good. So what you have on the screen, that bacteria is all covered in sugar. So you eat that, right? And you say, well, that's kind of cheap. You know, if I was going to eat something organic and something really good for me, it probably cost me twice as much, right? Maybe one at a time, half, you know, whatever. But here's the thing. They don't care. They're going to give you, even if they lose money a little bit, because they're going to gain money on the other end with the pharmaceuticals. They're going to make money with you going to the doctor. They're going to make money with your kidneys failing. They're going to make money with you having addictions to all this garbage. Yeah, and I find it funny. Sometimes I'll go on shows and people go, you just have snake oil. I love that. I just think that's so funny. I go, oh my God, you are very uneducated. So, but it's okay to go eat, you know, all these other things out there, and those people are okay. Coca-Cola Company, that's all right. Monster Company, that's okay. Those are all good companies. They love you. Well, yeah, they love you. They're stealing your money and making you sick. And the pharmaceutical companies, I wonder if there's a paper trail that says, hey, the pharmaceutical company's back in Monster, because, you know, or what another energy drink, because if you can get these people sick, they're going to come in, they're going to need our pharmaceuticals. And we're going to make lots of money. This is it. You know, people go, oh, this is sick mind. But I wonder sometimes.
Well, I've got a friend that is in the medical industry, and she's an ER nurse. She's told me some recent stories about what people go into the ER for. Here's a couple recent ones. Somebody recently went in over a mosquito bite. They wanted to get tested for the Zika virus and everything that you could possibly imagine, West Nile, and they were very nervous about that. So they went into the ER over a mosquito bite. I am not exaggerating. There's people that go in often over a light cough or, you know, sneezing, especially when they see stuff on the news saying, oh, you need to watch out for the new donkey, swine, pig flu that's got a unicorn mixture in there. There is a legal speed pandemic, literally a legal speed pandemic. Ritalin, also Adderall. The Adderall, she said, the pharmaceutical locations will receive a shipment every couple of weeks, and they'll be out in a few hours. There's this another person.
It's the rush. And fear is driving this, Rex. Fear is driving it. Oh, and maybe Zika is in me because, and you know, I want to wind the clock back a little bit here when you were talking about spraying for the mosquitoes. I'm just curious, Rex. Maybe you've heard something on this one, but I kind of know where we're going here. How many bees die when they spray for mosquitoes?
It doesn't matter. They got these robot bees that work better.
And they say Monsanto right on the windshield.
Yeah, they got the Monsanto serial number. No, you bring up a good point. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. They're killing more bees than they are mosquitoes.
Yep.
People that are already you have a compromised immune system based upon their lifestyle and what they've injected themselves with, etc. You know what? I am going to make sure that after this podcast, I'm going to go in there, and I've got a couple of those donuts left. I'm throwing them away. Good. Even though I can have those things and still feel good, I'm going to get rid of that kind of stuff. It's you got to make it go away. I'm stepping out of the dark.
Use your lightsaber.
Yeah. Well, hello. That's a whole other podcast. But I'm telling you what, Ronnie, this stuff is awesome, man. It really is. And it's like, I've never had a problem sleeping, but my wife has a problem sleeping sometimes. So I gave her these ocean sleep pills and knocked her right out. She woke up the next day. She felt amazing. I know some people have opportunities with sleeping. So the thing I like about your products is you've got so much different stuff. I mean, you've got things for immune system builders. You've got product that's good for your digestive system. You've got product that's good for energy, like that Formula 13 tea. Yep. I need to get more of that. I'm out of that, by the way. It's great. You can make up a whole gallon. What I do is I just get a gallon of water, of filtered water, and then I will put some of that tea in there after it sat for a few hours. And then boom, man, that stuff's awesome. It doesn't even have caffeine in it.
And I got stuff for blood sugars. I got the stuff. I do. I got the stuff. You know why? Because I was sick. And so I go after this. I want to help people, and that's why I can, when sometimes if they call me names, I can take it, That's it. I'm going to cry, man. I'm going out. I can't do it anymore. No, because you know what? I know this stuff works, and it really, really helps people. And it's exciting. Like I said, I've seen the Leak Project people. They're like coming on board. They're saying, you know what, we're getting this stuff. We're going to do this. And that is very exciting when you see all of a sudden this major change where people are just jumping on board.
You know, another thing that I was told is that in the pharmaceutical, if you're going to be a doctor, the education that you receive now, they don't really talk about how your digestive system is like the internal brain. I've noticed times in the past, if I ever got a little bit of a tummy ache, it would link to my head. I would get a headache as well.
Yeah.
And it was like they were linked. So now they're taking that out of the curriculum. So it's going to be even more ignorance when
nutrition. They're taking nutrition out of the curriculum. They don't want that in there. So many times people can change certain things in their body with diet and exercise. They might be real sick, and then all of a sudden, just with some diet and exercise, completely turn around things. And I'm, because we're sedentary. We sit at our computers all day. We sit here. The farmers sit in their tractors. We can go on and on. So, it's important to realize there is something going on when you talk to the doctors, and he might know about vitamin C, but he doesn't know about anything else. How can I control my blood sugars? Oh, well, you need this, and he'll wrap off 3 or 4 pharmaceuticals. But no, naturally. Oh, I don't know.
I've got a friend that was on 3 pharmaceutical drugs. One of those had a black box label warning. And for those of you that don't know what a black box label warning is on a pharmaceutical drug, that is about as dangerous as it gets. It is linked to, well, matter of fact, let's do this. I'll show you what a black box.
It's linked to the dark side, Luke.
Oh, I'll tell you, the dark side can be fun. This is beyond that. This is like, this is, let's have a chance of getting something extremely wrong with us. A black box warning is the strictest warning put in the label of prescription drugs or drug products by the Food and Drug Administration when there is reasonable evidence of an association of a serious hazard with the drug. So many of you might be on a drug that has a black box warning. You don't even know what that really means because your doctor said it was okay, because your doctor felt that the risk outweighed the side, the risks that you were going to have to deal with by not taking it. The side effects were worth it. Now, let me ask you this. If you have a strong immune system, if you can rebuild parts of your immune system and rebuild your health, are you going to have a better chance doing that by taking pharmaceutical drugs with a list of side effects and problems that they show you? Or are you going to have a better opportunity to get better by doing organic supplements or foods and food that's organic, by eating right, by drinking right? People say distilled water is the best. No, it's not. Distilled water has absolutely no nutrients in it whatsoever. If you want to get certain waters, definitely you want to have filtered water. Distilled water isn't as bad as maybe tap water with a bunch of poison in it, like chlorine and other stuff from the pipes, etc. But you really have to ask yourself that question. Are you somebody right now that is realizing that these drugs that you're taking, because supposedly your cholesterol is too high, supposedly you need to lower? Here's one thing as well. Somebody that my father-in-law, I've talked about this before. He was on several medications before he died. One of those had a black box label on it. The doctors kept prescribing him more drugs instead of telling him to maybe lose a few pounds. And when it got to the point of he could barely walk, I might get emotional talking about this. He got to the point where he couldn't even walk. The doctors, he was in the hospital, and they're doing tests on him. And they're like, oh, we can't figure out what's wrong with him. His blood pressure seems to be fine. His cholesterol is fine. Oh, but his organs, it took him 7 days, not 7 days. It took him 4 days to figure out that his organs had failed by all the damn drugs they had him on. And the doctor couldn't even recommend go on a diet, lose some weight, eat healthy. No, here's another drug. Here's another drug. Well, now one of the most incredible people in the world is no longer with us because he just listened to everything the doctor told him to do. He didn't give him any advice. Maybe the doctor didn't know. Maybe the doctor didn't realize that hey, buddy, maybe lose a few pounds. Maybe that might be a good idea. I'm just telling you this as a friend. I can't tell you as a doctor because I might lose my license. But maybe as a friend, maybe lose a few pounds, maybe exercise. It's just crazy, man. How many people every single year, Ronnie, lose somebody to an overprescribed drug?
It's incredible. You go to a restaurant, somebody's either talking about a friend that just entered the hospital, a friend that just died. And you know what? I think this is kind of a U.S. thing because people eat right and work harder. Not work harder, that's the wrong way to exercise more in other countries. So this is the only country that we're just kind of lazy. And if there is some kind of, high output energy, like, say NFL football, you got to get paid millions for it. Something's wrong with our system.
Let's talk about this for a minute. You are a patient, you are a customer to the industry. They do not want you to be healthy. They will not make money if you're healthy. They want to find a Band-Aid that you can continue to take. Then they can create an artificial solution, a part-time solution, and it's very frightening. So, how many people die from pharmaceutical drugs every year, ladies and gentlemen? Well, there's plenty of research you can do yourself and find that over 100,000 Americans die each year from prescription drugs.
And that's a low number, by the way.
Yeah, it is a low number.
It is a low number. The actual number is more like 250,000.
And they worry about you wearing your seatbelt. Yes. Okay. So bacteriophage therapy. Let's talk about this for a minute. This bacteriophage stuff that is literally a genetically modified virus that can be sprayed on cold cuts, can be sprayed on meats and seafoods and products. They don't even have to label it. This it literally looks like some type of nano type technology.
It looks alien.
We will assimilate you.
See the alien head on the right?
Oh, yeah.
Blowing bubbles on the left.
Yeah. Nano grays. Look at that. Nano gray aliens. So tell us about the colostrum. For those out there that maybe haven't tried it, if they hear the name colostrum, they might think that it's some type of colon cleanser, which it's not.
No, it's not going to cleanse you. Actually, it has a reverse effect. Those out there that's got diarrhea, you want to get rid of the diarrhea, you start doing colostrum. There's two kinds of colostrum. We got the colostrum pills, and that's really more of a maintenance thing. And then there you have the colostrum bag, which that's what you've got, Rex. And that bag basically, you just 3 heaping tablespoons into maybe 6 ounces of water, mix it up, drink it like milk, and once a day, twice a day, depending on your tummy. And I'm telling you, you'll be a new man or woman. And if you're having diarrhea problems, that's going to help that big time. Diarrhea is not a good thing to have, just so you know. And I'm not talking about just the uncomfortable part of it. I'm talking about period. It's not good at all. Oh, well, everything's coming out of me. Yeah, but it's still not good for you. So, and then we have the GI Joy, which you were talking about earlier. And the GI Joy is really awesome because it's kind of a soother for your tummy, and it puts colostrum in there. So, if you have I probably should do a special on GI Joy and colostrum and the tea. That would be a good special. Now I'm birthing something on your show.
That is a good idea. Do you like the trifecta there? You want to have a lot of energy, folks. I'll tell you too. I mean, I'm definitely into exercise. I like to ride my bike a lot. I'll go out and I'll do 30, 40 miles in the hill country. I love it, especially it gets the endorphins rolling. And one of the things that I've noticed also is the GI Joy seems to kind of give me, anyway, it gives me a little extra boost. And then I'll mix that with some colostrum, and then I'll put that Get the Tea Formula 13 in one of my water bottles. And I like it. I mean, I know people that are out there spending $6, $7 a day on energy drinks.
Yeah, that's bad news.
A lot of chemicals, and that kind of keeps them going for a short while. The Formula 13 tea, that doesn't even have caffeine, but it uses I don't know what your formula, how you came up with that formula. Talk to us about the Formula 13 stuff, because I really like that.
Formula 13 is good because it's a little sweet, and it's a little bit of the pomegranate. And the sweet, if you're diabetic, don't worry about it because it's stevia, so you're good to go. And none of our tea, in fact, I was just on a phone call before you, and they were talking about, we tried your tea, and we really thought because it's detox, it's going to be nasty. We couldn't believe how good it tastes. So that I get that comment like a lot. I mean, we get a bazillion emails, and they'll say, we can't believe how good it tastes. And that's the idea is, who wants to, it's kind of like, we want you to work out here. And here's the first thing you're going to do is you're going to jump as far as you can up the side of this rock and hold yourself there for about 12 hours. Then we'll come back and we'll get some bicycle riding lessons. And, you're like, what? So the same thing, when you talk about detox, people think, oh my gosh, it's going to taste bad, but it doesn't. It tastes good. And the same thing with colostrum. You mix that up. It's like drinking some non-fat milk. That's good. I enjoy it. So the biggest thing is to make sure that if you've got to drink or taste something, it tastes pretty decent. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to take it.
Yeah, it tastes like chocolate milk. And, so it comes directly from dairy cows that eat strictly organic feed, correct?
Correct. Yep. And here, I got to throw this out there too, because every once in a while we'll get somebody that says, we hate you. And I'll be like, wow, that's kind of strong. Yeah, we hate you because you're killing calves, because you're stealing the colostrum out of the milking cow. Well, they're uneducated, unfortunately. We do not steal any calves. If you've had any connection with cows or milking cows, which, by the way, I have, they put out a whole bunch of milk, tons and tons of it, and the same with colostrum. So there's nothing being stolen from the calf. No calves die in this process. It's all good stuff. So just in case anybody's worried about, little calfies out there dying, it's not a truth. It's just whatever it is.
Well, and I can understand somebody's concern if that's what they were told by somebody else. And there's a lot of disinformation out there. So I appreciate you setting the record straight, because I have read a couple of comments where people are like, oh, that's terrible. So you're not hurting any cows or
no cows die. No calves are shorted. These mama cows, man, they produce gallons and gallons of this stuff. So we just take what the extra, because sometimes, they'll have twins and there's still plenty for both the twins and for more. So, but most cows have one. So there's plenty out there. There's no calves dying. There's no, I couldn't be a part of something that did that if that was a truth. I couldn't even be a part of that. Even if the colostrum was really, really, really good for you and a cow had to die for it, I would struggle. I'm even into the plants, it's like cut down a tree. No, let's build around the tree, So I'm kind of, I wasn't like that my whole life, but I am now. And kind of learned my lesson in a few ways. So nobody gets harmed. In fact, everybody wins. It's a win-win situation.
That's great. That's what it should be. It should be a win-win situation. And this right here is a publication directly that describes this double-stranded RNA activity, where this corn will actually, when a rootworm starts to consume this corn, it will destroy it from the inside out. And it shuts down certain properties of the digestive tract. Now, obviously, that is a lot smaller than a human being. The question is, when people are consuming 77% of their products that they consume has some type of genetically modified corn, whether it's going to have glyphosate or a multitude of herbicides, insecticides on it. Now, even if you think that you can avoid that, you have to worry about something like this, where it's actually designed to be poisonous from the inside out. That's frightening.
Well, and think about this. Okay, that's the action of the corn. Okay, so most people that have diabetes, they think they have sugar problems. That's really not what they have. They have an autoimmune disease. They have a stomach digestive problem. So here is a corn that destroys you from the inside out. Could this be possible that GMOs are destroying our autoimmune system and destroying us from the inside out?
Well, it's genius for population control. It's genius for companies that profit off of coming up with new pharmaceutical drugs to band-aid the problem that they create. There was a movie that I saw growing up, and it kind of made me think about the cold, the common cold even, where there was this pharmaceutical company that was doing this roundtable discussion in one of the higher floors of their skyscraper. And they were bragging about how they came up with this new virus, and they already had the cure for the virus. They were just going to release the virus, and then everybody was going to have to get the cure from them. And they had the immune system blockers to prevent them from getting sick. So it makes you wonder sometimes when you see these bizarre situations like, flus coming out in areas where they never have before that seem to be tweaked just a little bit. Then you can read up on all these patents that are multitudes of viruses have been patented and weaponized. So then the location.
Well, that's the whole Plum Island. That's where it all started. So I mean, you're dead on. And I always talk about the movies. The movies are always telling you, even though it's not a true story, I won't say it's a true story, but the movie is always telling you what the bad guys are doing. So that's their way of, part of the code to tell the good guy, here's a good guy, we're doing this. Oh, that's just a movie. No. How many of the movies have come to reality? And they were just a sci-fi, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And now the reality, I remember watching the cartoon as a child, the Jetsons, and they would talk to each other through, a TV. And I thought, how crazy that was. And what are we doing today? Kind of interesting.
It is. And, we've got a couple of questions from the audience, if that's okay.
Yeah.
One of the questions is, if somebody has a tough time digesting dairy products, would the colostrum work for them?
Yeah, here's a catch on that one. It is almost lactose free, but there is just a teeny bit. So it really depends how bad they are lactose intolerant. If you're just barely, I would say try it, but I'll be honest, that's kind of a pricey try it thing. I would say this, maybe try the pills first, because that's a smaller amount, and then work up from there. But yeah, there's very little lactose in the actual colostrum, but there is a little teeny bit. So if you're highly allergic to it, I'd say stay away from it. But if you can tolerate it a little bit, I'd start on the pills and then move from the pills to the actual bag.
Great. And if somebody was going to just do 2 or 3 products, what would you recommend?
Oh, that's a great one. I call it the big 3. I already did this. I put it on sale. The big 3, which is colostrum, a bag of colostrum, capsules, which is the advanced allicin. Okay. The allicin advance is really a powerful tool because I'll say for me, because I don't want to get in trouble here. So for me, when I take 1 pill a day, and you'll say, oh, it's a little pricey, but it's a 2-month supply. So you just need 1 pill a day. And the benefits are over the top, but you probably, I better go back. So for me, I'm not sick. I don't have colds and I don't have flus because I take the Allison Advanced. So that's in the package. And then the last one is the tea, which is, 30-day supply of the tea. And then if you're detoxing all the stuff that we're looking at on your screen, that gets rid of that stuff. And so you're cleaning your body, you're rebuilding your digestion with the colostrum, and you're putting heavy amounts of garlic, but it doesn't smell like garlic, and a little bit, but it doesn't leak out your pores. You don't have bad breath, all that kind of stuff. But it goes and does things I can't tell you on the show because I'd be in trouble. But let's just put it this way: you'll feel a lot better. How's that?
My mother-in-law was coughing for weeks, and I finally said, here, take some Allison C's. This might help you out. And she's not coughing anymore. So the garlic amount in there is crazy. I was like, what did you do? Put an entire storefront of garlic in one pill? That's awesome, man.
What's neat about it is the Allison Advanced. Okay, the Allison inside the pill, there's 300 milligrams of Allison. It's pure Allison. Okay, most everything that's on the market is 2 to 4%. So it's 300%. Okay, 300 milligrams. Excuse me. There's 300 milligrams, and that Allison, just the part of the garlic bulb is when it gets hit, it gets beat up, it heals itself, and Allison is released in the garlic to heal itself from the bruise. That is what is put in that same Allison that you see in the bulb that protects itself from bruises is the same stuff you're putting in your body.
Great. And the next question is, this person says, my son has IBS. Anything that you could suggest for that?
Oh, yeah. If it was my son, I got to be careful how I say things because I cannot prescribe. I'm not a doctor. If it was my son, I would want him to have colostrum because IBS is very painful. And again, you're going back into the digestive tract. So the other thing that would be really good for IBS is going to be the GI Joy, because there's peppermint in there, there's aloe in there, there's a little bit of turmeric to get things in the blood going, and of course colostrum's in there. So that's a really awesome product. I sell a lot of that. People are getting a lot of relief from that.
Okay. And somebody said that they are trying to get off of doctor prescribed opiates. Do you have anything that could help them with that?
Yeah, the tea is going to be probably your best thing for that, but that's going to be tough. The tea will wipe out drugs. So, and for anybody that has to take pharmaceuticals, and you really need to, I'm not trying to bash you because we do have to take some things. Just so you know, if you take the tea, you need to take it 2 hours before, 2 hours after, because it'll wash out the pharmaceutical. It'll just clean you out. It's gone. So, but yeah, I would say if you're trying to get off of opiates, that's a tough one. So I would probably start with the tea, and that would help. But again, that's a tough one.
Okay. And somebody says, I can't eat anything anymore without getting sick. I think they poisoned me already. I have cancer. What about me? What would you recommend? Chemo ruined my stomach.
Yes, I agree with you. Okay. I'm not a doctor. If I felt like that, I would want to do the big three because the tea's got a cleanser. The colostrum would be, I'm trying to word this right. The colostrum repairs me, and the Allison does things I can't say on this program. And so if you're surviving, this will help you survive. How's that?
Right on.
I really had to say certain things. I wish I could just tell that person blah, 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 but I can't.
Isn't it crazy, the society that we live in, when you have to word things certain ways? Otherwise, certain mafias will come down upon thee like the wrath of the titanium alloy unicorn god. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Rex, no, you're on target. And this is something that I probably should do every radio show with this. And I should do every podcast, and I should do every YouTube with this. Something is wrong with our system. When somebody is dying from, let's just use cancer. They're dying from cancer. And the doctors won't say, hey, anything goes, let's get them well. We're not allowed to say certain things. And I do understand part of that, because there's a lot of idiots out there that say, I have this new powder and it kills cancer and it does this and it does that and heals you and blah. And it's nothing but, wheat flour. So I do get it. I do understand it, but they've kind of taken the pendulum so far over that you're not allowed to say anything because, again, it's interrupting their cash cow. And so that's the hard parts. To me, if somebody's very sick and they're, essentially dying, sometimes we're supposed to die, but when we're 35 years old or 40 years old or whatever, and we're dying, it's kind of not supposed to be. To me, it doesn't matter. If somebody said, stand out in the wheat field naked and that worked, man, I'd be doing it. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. All bets are off. Let's make things work to get people cured. But the FDA doesn't see it that way, and the government doesn't see it that way, and the powers that be don't see it that way. They see it as, if you can't do it through chemo, then you can't do it. And Steve McQueen is a perfect example. This guy had huge cancer problems. And why did he have to go to Mexico? He had to go to Mexico because they wouldn't treat him naturally here in the States. Hello. What is that telling you?
They love us. They really care about us. And it's just for our safety. If somebody's dying from cancer, it's for their own safety that they die. Yes,
safety is funny, because it's like, I remember in California, and I think this was probably across the states, a lot of different states, but California had for a long time, 55 saves lives. You go 55 miles an hour, saves lives. Well, now the speed limit is 65, 70 miles an hour. So what does that mean? Does California say, we don't really care about you now, so go ahead and die out there? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're always acting like they care about you. I'm a doctor, I'll help you. But the doctor's looking at a computer screen and not at you. And so it's really tough, because I do understand some of the firewalls they got to put in, because there are some goofy people out there selling a bunch of junk that doesn't amount to anything. They got to protect people from that. I get it, but they're so overly protective. And if you see, the pharmaceuticals are very much, FDA and pharmaceutical companies are so, so many of the drugs that we're using today in the hospitals are not FDA approved. So why does the FDA say, oh yeah, by the way, it's not approved, but you can go ahead and use it? Why is that?
It's interesting where the money trails go. I was given some information several years ago that you needed to have at least $20 million to get a drug approved by the FDA based on the testing that they have to do and everything involved. So I'll have to do more research on that. But man, I'm getting a ton of questions for you, Ronnie. Next time I've got you on the show, I'll have to start doing we'll have to start doing user questions sooner, because people are just, they're like, and if I could maybe get a few more questions. I know you've got a lot to do, or do we need to let you go now? We've gone a little bit over.
No, we can do 2 or 3 more.
Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Much appreciated. So, and I'm sure everybody that you've had an opportunity to answer for, they are thankful as well. This person asks, could you ask Ronnie if there's anything that can lower plaque in your veins? My dad died of heart disease at 47. I'm 35. I want to take care of my heart, especially while I'm on these meds.
Okay, I can't prescribe, but I have 2 things that are beautiful. Beautiful. One will make you feel uncomfortable. Okay, I'm trying to word this just right. One will make you feel uncomfortable. It's nice and advanced, and so it has B3 in it, and it'll kind of give you like the itchies, and you'll turn red like an apple, and you'll feel kind of uncomfortable for about 10 or 15 minutes. But that's a beautiful thing. That'll clean you up good. And then, of course, back to the Allison Advanced. When you're doing garlic, just look up garlic, period. Because people say, well, I just eat garlic, so I don't need Allison Advanced. Well, you know how much garlic you'd have to eat to be equivalent to that 300 milligrams of Allison? Lots and lots, I might say. You'd be stinky. So anyway, I would say for that person, Allison and Niacin Advance are wonderful products that I use to clean myself up.
Great. And then is there anything that you would recommend for somebody that does have high cholesterol?
Cholesterol is a diet thing. Most people, you take cholesterol stuff and, let's go back to the Allison. Yes, that will help you. But it's a diet thing. You need to change your diet if you got high cholesterol, and you need to change your diet. And did I say you need to change your diet? Yeah. And that's hard, I know, but I'll just tell everybody, and they can boo me later. The more raw veggies you eat, I don't care if you've got blood pressure issues, you've got blood sugar issues, you've got cholesterol, triglyceride, blah, blah, blah. The more raw vegetables you can eat, just snack on them in the afternoon, just do like a Hidden Valley Ranch dip with some raw broccoli or raw cauliflower. Those are the two big ones. Because when you cook them, it's great, and you're still getting good stuff, but not as much. If you just do that like once every other day, once every third day, you would not believe what's going to change your life. Phytonutrients. I mean, I'm serious. And it's going to be terrible at first, but after a while, you're going to go, your body, you'll see, your body will crave it and say, and you'll start seeing those donuts in a whole different light. You'll be like, yeah, I eat the broccoli, and people go, what? But I just, in fact, I just had for lunch, I had some raw broccoli and dipped it in some Hidden Valley Ranch dressing. And man, I'm telling you, it's wonderful. And what it does for me physically is mind blowing. So again, cholesterol and triglycerides too, you lean to, Allison will help you, and it will help you with cholesterol as well. But cholesterol does not move fast. So if you go get a blood test today and check your cholesterol, your triglycerides, and all of that today, you go do it in 30 days, it's not going to move a whole lot. Cholesterol is a slow mover, but diet is the big change for cholesterol.
Fantastic. And we'll just take one more question here. One more question. I'm looking through to see which one. Where would I find info on Allison C that you refer to? And I'm sure this will be a good way to close it out. So
the information on Allison's on my website. And you're probably not going to find a whole ton of it on the internet, because I kind of got a special thing going. So this is kind of privy to get the tea. So, but you can look on my website of what Allison does. I have a scientist that kind of put this stuff all together. He's over in London, and really awesome stuff. It's one of my favorite products, the tea, the colostrum, and the Allison. That's why I call it the big three. Those are just beautiful products that do great things for your body. And let me tell you something else too. And this is really important, and we'll close out. It is so important, if you want to get healthy, to have a good attitude. And trust me, I have health issues myself. And there's times I get depressed. It's like, like for me, I'm gluten intolerant. And when you can't have a hamburger with a hamburger bun, it's tough, eating a lettuce wrap, and that's fine. I'm used to it now, and it's okay. But every once in a while, it's like the old days, could have that hamburger with a bun, have a piece of pizza with real pizza dough. Well, I can't have that. And I can go into other stuff, but my point is, it's very important to keep a good attitude just in blood sugars alone. If you have anxiety, if you have issues of emotional issues, whatever, you can change your number by 200 points on a blood read just with emotions. So that tells you that, in my opinion, the doctors don't have it all square, because you could be eating like great and wonderful, but be an emotional wreck and have a huge blood number that people go, wow, that's dangerous. And it's all because of emotion. So people get in accidents and immediately have diabetes. So there's all kinds of weird stuff that goes on. A point being is, if you're going to attack health, you need to get happy, you need to laugh, and maybe play a lot of music that you like, and that's going to help you big time.
Right on. I've got a friend that almost died because of her diet and wheat. She had to take wheat completely out of her diet. And now if she eats something that even has just a little bit of gluten in it, even though if even just a tiny amount, she'll immediately get sick. But if she stays off of it and, just watches what she eats, thinks good thoughts, and does exercise, she's in great health. And I think that's a key point as well. Well, in closing out, I would like to say, what are you thinking about if you do have physical opportunities that you are healing and fixing? If you're thinking in your mind already that you're going to feel bad the next day, and the next day, oh, I eat this, oh, I can't eat this, I have to eat this at a certain time, etc. It's you're presetting your feelings, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
mind
30%
is
of diabetics have depression.
okay.
So that gives you an idea of something right there. And you know, anytime you have any kind of disease, you know, that you're taking pharmaceuticals, you somehow feel low and bad about yourself. Well, for everybody that's listening to me, don't feel that way. That's what's put on us. Fear is also put on us. I do not think that the doctors, there's a reason they call it a practice. So, and I'm not ditching on the doctors, because there's some damn good doctors out there, but we're losing a lot of our damn good doctors because the system's broken. All this to say is keep your chin up and attack the disease. You know, this is what Rex is about, telling you what's going on out there. And what does he do? He attacks it. He attacks it. He attacks the bad guy. Here's what's going on. Okay. He's taking their pants and putting it around their ankles. We have to do that with any kind of disease or any kind of something that we have. I'm trying to help you, but you also need to do the physical part. You also need to do the emotional part. These are huge pieces of the pie to healing. Believe it or not, music will change so much. It's a frequency issue. So there's so much I could tell you. Maybe we should do that, some of how to heal, and we could do it maybe in the next thing. But I hate the word heal, because if I say heal, then I start talking about products. People go, oh, that's healing. No, that's not. But there's a lot of natural ways that have nothing to do with supplements that'll make you feel better. And you need to do all those in unison with everything: supplementing, eating right, exercising. Exercising, actually, the endorphins, so the release is wonderful. And a lot of people, they loathe it, but go exercise with something you love. You know, it's like, hey, maybe you like to swim, or you like to tennis, or you like riding bicycles, or you like racquetball, whatever. Doesn't matter. Do something you like that gets your heart rate up, and you'd be surprised. You want to get triglycerides, cholesterol, and all that down, blood pressure down. Start putting oxygen into your head and see what happens.
Oh yeah, exercise is huge. That will help you feel a lot better, get those endorphins going. And speaking of, I'm going to say once again, Ronnie, it's been an honor to speak with you. Ladies and gentlemen, check out getthetea.com. If you want to have Christmas early, go to the website and check out all the good stuff. I mean, seriously, there's so many opportunities there for you. When you check out, let them know Leak Project sent you. Also, be excellent to each other and be the change you want to see. Thanks a lot, Ronnie.
Thank you. People, it's killing animals. This is a no-go. And yet, America, we're too busy watching moron NFL players take a bow than we are to care about our own food. And, you know, I have to say something. I got to, let's do a break here for just a second. So the last time you had me on, there's been an influx of your people watching that are going, hey, let's get healthy. And they're starting to order, and it's really cool. I'm like going, this is awesome that everybody's getting on the bandwagon and saying, hey, we want to do something. We want to be a part of this, and we want to feel better for ourselves. So it's really been exciting to see how many people are from the Leak Project.
Hey, that's great. And I've got to say also, when you start doing specific things to improve your health, like take specific supplements, and when you figure out what formulas work for you, you know, some people, specific products, specific vitamins work better than others. And, you know, some people like different products. I've tried, man, if I look back over the past 15 years, the amount of supplements and vitamins that I've taken, the different brands and products that say they're 100% organic, et cetera, and they're supposed to be the best, and stuff that's a lot more expensive from other sites that I've gotten before that don't compare to the Get the Tea stuff. It's just kind of like, it fits for me, you know? And one of the things that, like, I actually,
what's with that, Rex?
well, they want to experiment on us the most. You know, this is the land of the fee, home of the slave. And we have an opportunity, at least. I mean, we can talk about it, we can discuss it, and we can offset it. But the problem is, I've seen video footage of people in Boston that were getting sprayed via planes to get rid of the mosquitoes. And it looked like something out of a horror film. It was like a horror sci-fi film. Yeah. These clouds of pesticides were being emitted from these planes. And then what happened in Houston, and the aftermath of Houston, after their homes got devastated with floods, then they sprayed the chemicals. So, okay, it's a catch-22. I get it. You don't want to have a ton of mosquitoes out there. I can certainly understand that. But what are you going to do? You're going to use a pesticide that has been banned in many nations, but it's okay to spray here. Like you said, I mean, you can get yourself a good Mexican Coke that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in it in a glass bottle, not a bisphenol A filled plastic bottle with additional stuff in it. You know, it's funny. Let's talk about this for a minute, because I picked up a here was okay, folks. I mean, this colostrum stuff's so good. I picked up these cheap donuts the other day. It was $1 for a bag of these donuts. I'm looking at the back and I'm like, why am I consuming this? I mean, there was like 100 different ingredients in a bag of donuts.
I am your father. I am your father, Luke.
It's terrible. I was like, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. We're getting ready to go live. Ronnie McMullen's here with us. We're going to talk about this wonderful new genetically modified corn that actually doesn't even need pesticides to be dangerous and to kill pesticides. They've actually found a way to manipulate the RNA gene and splice it and turn off certain genes when it's consumed. So now, talk about a silent killer. This stuff is crazy. They're literally genetically modifying the DNA to where it's like a poison. So it destroys the guts. It destroys the intestines of these insects. Now imagine what this is going to do to human beings. So even if you think you're one of the smart ones, you're like, yeah, you know, I bought the non-organic stuff, but I washed it all off. I washed all that pesticide stuff off. Well, it's still growing inside of the genes. This is just unprecedented. I talked to you guys about this the other day, actually, and thank goodness we can learn about this kind of stuff, because oftentimes they can get away with it and they don't even have to label certain things that they do. If you look at the amount of genetically modified crops in the States, I mean, just take a look at it. 96% genetically modified cotton, 77% corn. Now, if it's genetically modified, that means oftentimes it's probably going to have a lot more pesticides on it, because that corn can withstand the pesticides. Well, now they're even growing the pesticides in the corn. How cool is that? Hey, Ronnie, thanks for joining us here at the Leak Project. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing fantastic. I've been taking this colostrum stuff from getthet.com. You've heard of that place, right?
I have. It's ringing a bell.
Yeah, I love it. That and the GI Joy. I mean, these are my two favorite products. Seriously, I can't say enough good things about them. I will say this, though, since I've been taking these supplements, I've actually been eating a little bit less healthy, because it's like my food's digesting better, I guess, and I feel better. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to have some of those gummy bears. So I need to avoid that. But I'll tell you, you're
going to the dark side now.
Yes, I'm going to the dark side. So what do you think about this? The amount of crops that are being grown, genetically modified crops, and now these new crops that are literally poisoned from the inside.
Well, here's what I think, and not that it matters, but anyway, here it goes.
Of course it does.
I just think that we as the United States are putting up with too much BS. And here's why. Why do we not throw Monsanto on its ear like many of these other countries have? Because they said, you know, here's what's going on. Our crops are turning to frankenfood. We don't want this. It's killing.
Take the colostrum and I can feel a difference almost immediately. That's one of the things that I like. It's not like something you have to do for 6 months and be like, oh, I think I might be able to tell a little bit of a difference here. And, you know, there's other products out there as well. I talked to a really cool guy the other day. His name's Jacob, and he's got a great YouTube channel. He used to be a producer and writer for the World Wrestling entertainment industry, the WWE. And, you know, he's had certain opportunities that he's worked on his life to improve. And he used to live next to a toxic waste dump. And he thinks that maybe some of the stuff that he's going through is because of all those chemicals. So I really think that people need to figure out how to detox as best as possible as well. Because if you're constantly consuming foods, even if you're not consuming foods that are genetically modified, good luck with that, by the way. The amount of foods that are genetically modified, even if they find a way to just slip a little bit in, you know, if they're putting that high fructose corn syrup in there, or they're finding some way to put an additional additive that they don't have to label. For example, this bacteriophage stuff, this stuff they can spray on your food and they don't even have to tell you about it. They don't even have to label it.
See, that's what's sick and wrong. They should be telling you. Of course, they're flying over and they're putting chemicals in the air and they're putting stuff in the water, and they don't tell us about that either. So this is the world we live in the United States. It's not even happening as much in other countries as it is in the United States. It's like we're number one.